Evening. Oh my goodness. I wasn't supposed to be on here tonight. I spent the day getting ready for hunting season and made sure the rifle was all sighted in, made sure my bow was all set up correctly. There's two separate seasons for hunting here in Alaska for moose. The first 2 weeks of September is, at least where I'm going to be hunting, the first 2 weeks of September is rifle or bow. And then the last 2 weeks of September is bow only. So I wanted to make sure both my weapons of choice were taken care of, and just been listening to a lot of YouTube streams and a lot of different YouTubers and other people who covered the Dolphins talking about, the season and how they're doing. And I'll be honest, I'm a little frustrated. And most people know that I'm a pretty optimistic guy, especially when it comes to this team on my hat. I guess I'm more disappointed in our fans, our fan base, than I am in the team in any way. So I kind of wanted to talk about some stuff today, right on the eve of the beginning of cuts for the team, getting down to 53 from the 100-man roster. It's a huge cut, and I don't know how many of you remember, but a few years ago, and for all of history of the NFL, was the cuts happened over a few weeks, and now the only cut that's required is the one at the end of preseason that takes you from 99 or 100 men down to 53. And it's a stressful time, and not so much for fans. That's not the stressful part for fans. It's a stressful time for the coaching staff and for players, knowing that all these cuts and all these things have to happen at once by Tuesday. It just makes for a hectic week for the league. You've got the cuts that have to happen by Tuesday. All teams have to be down to 53 men by then, and then in 24 hours from that time, you move into all the players that have made it through the list of teams and have a chance to go on to practice squads and things like that. So the Miami Dolphins are going to start the season guaranteed with 3 men on the injured reserve. Those 3 people will be carried by the team, and it won't count towards the 53-man roster. Just wanted to clarify that so people know. That's just the way it's going to be. I guess I better put this in the comments. If anybody wants to jump in, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to, but if you choose to, there's the link, and you can go ahead and click on it and join me if you want. I'll give you a chance to say your piece and whatever you think. But I wanted to get on here, kind of talk about the roster and what we're looking at and where we're at as a team as we move into these cuts. It's, like I said, it's stressful for the team. I mean, I'm thinking about it a lot as a fan, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around how stressful it probably is for the coaching staff, especially having to constantly spend 2 days doing nothing but nonstop straight cuts. Calling somebody into the office, getting the playbook, telling them, hey, thanks for coming out, but we'll see you later. It's a hard thing, crushing the dreams of players who, this was their chance. It's stressful. So some fans might not look at it as such. I do. I look at it as something that's kind of, stressful and hard. Cuts happen at all levels of football. Maybe not so much in Pop Warner, but it happens in high school and college and professional football, semi-pro leagues. The indoor football, I guess, is technically professional, but it happens in all leagues of football. It's not an easy thing. Those of you that are in here, holy crap, I appreciate it. I just realized, on the East Coast, it's late. So thanks for being here. I'm not really expecting a whole lot of people. I just wanted to get some things out here. It's rough. It's a hard time of year. So we're looking at this roster we have, and there's a lot of cuts that are about to happen. Some of these cuts are going to be difficult in certain positions, and some not so much. The only cut. A lot of teams have started making cuts already. Sunday today, there was a lot of cuts already across the league. The Miami Dolphins are not one of the teams that made cuts today, or if they did, they have not become official. So they very well could have told certain players, hey, thanks, but no thanks. But it's not going to be official probably until later. Yeah, man. Planet Killer, you're right. Yeah, cuts are rough. It's hard. Like I said, I just can't imagine the stress that these coaches are going through right now. And you've got some YouTubers right now talking about, oh, look at the last interview Mike McDaniel did. He did not look happy. He looked like he wanted to quit. Well, he probably does, because he's not looking forward to this next few days of coaching. This is what a lot of coaches refer to as Hell Week. This is the worst for NFL coaches. Most NFL coaches don't like making cuts. It's hard for them. And I can understand that. I can get down on that. I'm not going to fault Mike McDaniel for looking slightly morose coming into this week of coaching. It's going to be rough for him and Anthony Weaver and probably even Chris Greer. Now, I'm not going to give a bunch of dap to Chris Greer, or Stephen Ross, but this is hard for them too. It's a hard time. They've spent the last, 2 months getting to know a lot of these players, and they probably like a lot of them. And some of these decisions are not easy. So knowing that they've got to make these cuts, that's rough. It's rough. You're crushing dreams at that point, And a lot of these players, some of them will be able to go to other teams. They'll wind up getting picked up, and good for them. And I wish them nothing but success. Those that do end up not making our team. It's hard right now because you're looking at this team and you're thinking, who's going to be here on Tuesday? Who's going to be with this team on Tuesday? And it's not an easy thing. I have the depth chart right here, and there's a lot of names on here that I'm just not sure about. We know Tua, Zach Wilson, and Quinn Ewers are going to be on the team. Obviously, they'd be foolish to try to practice squad Quinn Ewers. If Quinn Ewers gets put on the practice squad or gets put on waivers, because you have to go on waivers before you can get picked up on the practice squad, right? Now, if they put Quinn Ewers up on waivers the way he's played pretty well in preseason, he's going to get picked up by another team, guaranteed. So they'd be foolish, that you look for us to carry three quarterbacks through the cuts from 53-man roster. Devon Achane is not going to be put on injured reserve. He's going to be ready to go for week 1. Jalen Wright likely could wind up on injured reserve. If he doesn't, I don't think they're going to put him on injured reserve just because it's not going to be more than a couple weeks he's going to be out. If he misses week 1, he probably would be back by week 2. That's kind of where I'm at with it. What I think it very well could be worse. We're going to find out as we go, Ollie Gordon definitely is going to be on the team. And Mike Boone, and he's not listed here, but Shamklin, I think they're going to both be on the team. I wonder why Shamklin isn't listed. That's weird. Probably because they're just listing the first 4 stringers. But you're looking at probably having us carry right into the first week of the regular season. Mike Boone, Ollie Gordon, Jalen Wright, Devon Achane, and Shamklin. That's 5 running backs. Tyreek Hill, Westbrook, Taj, and D. Eskridge and Jalen Waddle and Malik Washington. So you're looking at those 6 players for receivers that are going to be on the team. Ezekama, Theo Weiss, Andrew Armstrong. Those guys are on the bubble. AJ Henning is out. I don't think he's going to be on the team for sure. But you got to look at those other 3 receivers, and Theo Weiss, Eric Ezekama, and Andrew Armstrong. I have to give the edge to Theo Weiss if they decide to carry a 7th. If we decide to carry a seventh wide receiver, it's going to have to be Theo Weiss. Eric Ezekama does good things in preseason, but he always does. And then something happens in the regular season, or he just doesn't ever do anything good. So either he's injured or that, and I just don't see it happening. Andrew Armstrong didn't really do enough to make an impression to the point where we feel like we're going to have something happen with him. I really think Theo Weiss, if they decide to carry a seventh receiver, he'll be there. If Theo Weiss gets put on waivers, I really expect another team to pick him up. Yeah, I'm sure they do. It's got to be. I mean, like, I couldn't imagine the stress of it. You know, I've had to be a part of cuts for high school, and it's rough. Kosa, what's up, my man? How you doing? Good to see you, brother. Remember, if you guys decide you want to join in here and weigh in, you're more than welcome. The link is at the top of the comments, so feel free to. As far as tight end goes, I don't see us carrying a fourth tight end. I think Pharaoh Brown, Julian Hill, and Darren Waller are going to end up being it. Really, I'd expect nothing more than that. Tanner Connor, I guess they could end up carrying him, but at this point, you know, it's cuts to 53. So Tanner Connor is going to end up being on the bubble. Chris Merrick, the other fullback, he's going to be dropped for sure. Alec Ingold will be the only fullback carried on this team. As far as the offensive line goes, you know, the obvious five are Austin Jackson, James Daniels, Aaron Brewer, Jonas Abayinaya, and Patrick Paul. Larry Borum has played not very well. He has these moments where he does okay, but just as many moments where he's not okay. So you're looking at something it's going to be difficult for Larry Borum to be on the team, but he is listed as second string, one of the second string linemen. So it depends. Liam Eichenberg is likely not going to be put on injured reserve. He's likely going to be available week 1. So at this point, I honestly am okay with Liam Eichenberg being on the team as a backup lineman. Let's face it, he can run just about every position on the offensive line, and that is a perk. But his play, on the other hand, is very, very inconsistent, and we know the deal with Liam Eichenberg. So you look at those five are starting five, and then you have Andrew Meyer, Daniel Brunskill, Keon Smith, and Larry Borum, and Liam. That's 10 linemen right there. The ones that are going to end up being on the bubble: Jalen McKenzie, Jackson Carman, Addison West, Braden Daniels, Ryan Hayes, Josh Preeb, and the other two, Bayron Matos and Yadni Kajesti. Those guys are injured reserve or are out completely. So I wouldn't expect either two of those to make the cut. If they do decide to carry an 11th lineman, I would be personally looking at Braden Daniels and Jalen McKenzie. Jackson Carman has shown us nothing in the grand scheme of offensive line play in this preseason. So I would look at Braden Daniels and Jalen McKenzie as options for that 11th lineman. And all this could change because as soon as players clear the waiver wire on Wednesday afternoon, a lot of things are going to change. There's going to be players signed everywhere, and Miami could very well, you know, drop a couple players immediately upon telling them they've made the 53 and put them on this team and sign a lot of players to the practice squad. And once they're on the practice squad, we can swap in and out, you know, with the active roster too. Kosa, what I'm hoping for here, Liam, our savior. Realistically, what I'm hoping here for our offensive line, especially our backups, as far as Liam goes, I'm really hoping he can turn a corner. I know we've seen so much garbage play from him and lackadaisical effort. It's hard to think that way, but that's what I'm hoping for. I hope that, you know, with everything that happened this year and the way he's got to know how fans and everybody else feels about him, you know, he's got to know that he's got to step it up. So hopefully he manages to do that. Hopefully he hasn't wasted his time away from the practice field this preseason. Hopefully he's decided to use that in a proactive way to make himself better. But we'll see. There's a lot of cuts on the offensive line coming. And like I said, there could be more. At this point, I would be okay with letting Larry Borum go as well. For now, I could expect him to make the team, but he's that player that could be cut for somebody else pretty much immediately as soon as waiver wires are done. So as soon as players start moving through the waiver wire. As far as the defense goes, you look at our defensive ends and our tackles. You know, Bradley Chubb, Benito Jones, Zach Sealer, Chop Robinson, Matthew Judon, Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, Grayson Murphy. Those guys are going to make the team. I don't see any way that they don't. These players here that are at the end of this, Alex Huntley, Matt Dickerson, Matthew Butler, Muhammad Kamara, Derek McClendon, Ben Still, and Zeke Biggers, these guys likely could be kicked off, could miss their spots on the team. The two players that I would like to find a way to hang on to more than anything is Derek McClendon and Zeke Biggers. Derek McClendon hasn't shown a lot, but when he's had his opportunities, he has maximized. He's maximized his opportunities. So I would love to see Derek McClendon and Zeke Biggers. Those two guys I would love to see find a way back off the off of the waiver wire or be kept outright. I suppose it just depends on what this team has planned for us. I hate rooting against Eichenberg. I met his father at a Browns game in Cleveland last year. He's great people. And you know what? That's everybody who knows. I don't know him personally, but everybody who does know Liam Eichenberg or his brother, I think he plays for the Raiders. Anybody who knows the Eichenbergs, they like them. They're good people, and you're right there. You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree as far as Liam's dad and him go. Elwood, how you doing, man? Good to see you in here. So, pardon me. He's good people, and that makes it harder, you know, because you want to root for the guy, you want him to be successful, and it's a lot of letdown so far. So maybe this year will be different. We'll see. He's going to make the team for sure. So he's got that opportunity to prove himself. He's better than, yes, absolutely. He's better than the other backups we have. I would agree with that for sure. I'll be glad that when he's back healthy, and I want to see what he can do. Yeah, that's a proper attitude to have. You know what I mean? He is better than what we have, what are the other players we have, and he can fill in nicely here and there. So I think he's going to be okay. I don't think he's a starter by any stretch, but coming in and filling in, I think he's got opportunities to do better there. Coming off of the front four, you know, you have your will linebacker, you have Jordan Brooks, Willie Gay, Channing Tindall. Likely the only reason Channing Tindall would make the team is if they kept him for special teams. But once again, it's in the black because we don't have a lot of extra spot to keep players just for special teams. Likely only two players, but Channing Tindall is a special teams ace. He does do very well on special teams. So if he stays on the team, you can pretty much guarantee that's why he's there. Willie Gay and Jordan Brooks obviously going to make the team. Our Sam linebackers, that's Jalen Phillips, Quentin Bell, Cameron Good. Quentin Bell and Jalen Phillips, I would look for them to make the team, obviously. I'm not sure about Cameron Good. He's on the bubble. Another one of those players where might not end up making the team, which sucks because Cameron Good is a great guy and a fantastic teammate. Everybody says the same thing about him in that locker room. So I wish there was a way, but I'm not sure with the amount of players that the team can keep. Cameron Good is likely on the bubble for that. Middle linebackers, Tyrell Dodson, KJ Britt, going to make the team, obviously. Eugene Asante and DeQuan Jackson. DeQuan Jackson is gone. He's going to be gone. It is what it is. Eugene Asante, very well, because of his play, and he's been playing well, he could make the team. He's done well on special teams as well. So you could see Eugene Asante make the team as another one of those special teams fringe players. Is also an option for going through the waiver wire and picking him up for the practice squad. A lot of these players can and will come back to us on the practice squad through the waiver wire, but some are going to get snagged, and we have to be prepared for that. Also, with that, other players from other teams, we're going to be snagging as well. The waiver wire is just it's gimme. It's insane watching that waiver wire on Wednesday. it just goes nuts as teams start looking through the players that are filtering down. So yeah, Asante is hurt, but he's not. From what I heard, it's not anything that's going to be injured reserve worthy. We'll see, though. I don't have any other news on him yet. I'm sure that'll be updated on Monday. Yeah, I know he's hurt, Elwood, but he might not be. It might not be as bad as some people think. Moving off of linebackers, as far as cornerbacks go, you have Kendall Sheffield, Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner. Ethan Bonner is going to make the team, even though he's injured. He very well could be ready to go week 1 or 2. We'll see. Rusty, how you doing, man? Good to see you in here. Ethan Bonner, Kendall Sheffield, Jack Jones, Cam Smith. Cam Smith is another one of those ones that's just I wish. And it's hard because you want him to be successful. He has had every opportunity. He's had some opportunities taken, but he's been given opportunities this year. And he did play very well. Actually, the number 2 rated Miami Dolphin on the field last week in that preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 2 with a 86 or 85 rating from PFF. So but those of you who don't know, Rusty is my favorite Bears fan. Since the Bears game we played in the beginning of preseason, he's been hanging around and stopping in and saying hey. So I always appreciate it when there's fans of other teams that come in here. Rusty, thanks for commenting. I understand the feeling, but the Bears did have that game where they looked really good too in week 2. So you never know, man. We'll see what happens with the Bears. I think they've got all the tools they need to do a lot better than last year. That's for sure. By the way, those of you that are in here, please make sure you guys throw a like down. It helps. Let's get that algorithm going for this late night stream. If you do decide that you want to be joining the stream, you're more than welcome to click the link at the very top of the comments, and you can hop in here if you like. If you're new, please subscribe. Even if you're like Rusty and you're a fan of a different team, doesn't matter. I still like to talk to everybody. I like to get a pulse on the other teams as well. So please go ahead, subscribe if you dare. All right. So the cornerback situation, we're gonna lose a few, but Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, Jack Jones, Kendall Sheffield, those 4 are definitely going to be on the team. Jason Marshall Jr., Dante Trader Jr., John Saunders, Jordan Colbert, Cameron Dantzler. I mean, these players, some of those are safeties too, but they're all on that. They're all on that bubble, and it's scary. It's hard because there's a lot of players here that you don't want to lose. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Elijah Campbell, Ashton Davis. Even though he's injured. Those guys are going to make the team, but Cam Smith, Patrick McMorris, Dante Trader, Jason Marshall, Isaiah Johnson, Ethan Robinson, Cameron Dantzler, John Saunders, Jordan Colbert, BJ Adams. These guys are on the bubble, and a lot of these players are going to be cut. Hilton is likely going to be cut just because they don't want to have guaranteed, because he's a veteran, and they probably don't want to have guaranteed money going to him. So he'll likely be cut, and he will likely make it back to us, which is funny, but watch that happen, guaranteed. Yeah, and you say the Bears are still, but what are we doing with that 72 championship? Pretty much the exact same thing, living off of 72 and 73. It's sad, isn't it? The Bears and the Dolphins have a lot in common. So, yeah, Mike Hilton hasn't really turned many heads either. So, like I said, this entire defense there's some surprises here. And like I said, because of the players that are going to be released across the league, hopefully we can shore up a little bit. But here's what I do want to say. About this. We are looking at a defensive backfield in our cornerbacks and our safeties that played a lot better than we would have expected in the beginning of preseason. They're doing a lot better than we thought. If you think that they're doing worse than what you thought they would be, you got to be crazy. They're definitely doing better. So at this point, I'm encouraged by the play of our cornerbacks and our safeties. Right now, as far as this team goes, my concern is with the offensive line depth. That's the big concern for me. I'm not okay with what we got going on with the offensive line. That's my concern. Main concern. My second concern is running back. And it's just because we have zero depth right now. We don't even have really enough running backs to fill the team. And and in the beginning of the preseason, running back was a position that I was not concerned with at all. And now it's a concern because of injuries. It's rough. And what's even weirder, now this is on a personal level, hunting season starts in a week for us here in Alaska. So the first 4 weeks of the season, 3 weeks, first 3 weeks of the season, I'm going to be in the backwoods hunting, sitting in a tree stand, or, laying down on a hill somewhere in the middle of the wilderness. Don't worry though, I'm still going to make live streams and little shorts and stuff as this goes on. Yep, Elwood, there it is right there. There's going to be 50 running backs available on Wednesday. You're right. That's what I'm talking about with the waiver wire. There's going to be ways that we can fill these spots. You think of it this way. Right now, every team has 100 players. And in 2 days, every team is going to have 53. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to be sifted around looking for teams to join. So we'll be able to fill a couple of these spots. Hopefully, the Miami Dolphins are smart enough and intuitive enough to pick up some of these linemen that are around the league and running backs that might not have worked out with other teams because of a different play style or scheme that would work out better here. As far as offensive line goes, you have two basic types of offensive line. You have a small, fast offensive line, which benefits in certain play styles and schemes in the offense, and you have big, beefy, slow offensive linemen. Those are your two sets. So whenever a team tries to mix the two together, they don't do very well as an offensive line. When you build an offensive line specializing in a certain kind of play, that's when you have success. So hopefully something will happen there. That's a good stat right there. Last year's 1,100 free agents, out of the 1,100 on the waiver wire, 22 were claimed. So it's not going to be too, like I said, most of the players that go through the waiver wire are going to wind up to be able to be picked up again by the team that let them go in. Those 22 claims are from other teams. So there's going to be some that are picked up off the waiver wire, but it won't be a ton. Players are going to be going everywhere, though. So this is where we get our practice squad players from, and this is where we get more depth. Aside from O-line and defensive backs, what other positions should be addressed at cutdowns? I would be okay with looking at the possibility of finding other cornerbacks. Obviously, kicker is a concern for us right now because Jason Sanders has an unlisted injury that he picked up the first play of the game this week. So kicker is a concern because we saw what happens when Jake Bailey kicks a field goal. Holy crap. I could have done a better job trying to kick a field goal. It was a 51-yarder. I get that, but the field goal wouldn't have been good from 30 or 20 because it was so wide left and it was so low to the ground. It was a horrible kick. Some people, he's not used to it, but oh, isn't that cool? Thanks, man. I've had this for a few years. I love it. It's not that cold. It's only like 50 degrees outside right now. I guess in some parts of the world that would be considered cold. Can the O-line actually protect, and can the D-line create consistent pressure and run stop? So it's hard to say about the offensive line right now. Like I said, things change from preseason to regular season. Mentalities and attitudes too. You can't pretend that it's going to be any other way. So, like I said, after week 4, I'll have of the regular season, I'll have a very good idea as to where we stand with that offensive line. They've given me reasons to be confident, and they've given me reasons to be terrified. So, I guess we'll just see where that ends up taking us. As far as the D-line goes, I do think the defensive line is going to be able to create consistent pressure in the passing game and for run stopping. I see this defensive line becoming very dominant by about week 3. As we proceed into these first couple weeks of the season, the defensive line is going to do nothing but get better. So I think they're decent, and I think they're good in a lot of ways right now. But as the season moves on, I think that the D-line is really going to come into their own. And I would be looking for a pretty successful defensive effort from our team. My concern, obviously, is with the offense. The running backs and the offensive line, those two positions go hand in hand, obviously, and that is something that also helps to unlock the passing game. So real important. Champlin to the rescue. Him and Boone have both been running really good. So it was a pleasant surprise to see them do what they've been doing. That's for sure. It is getting that time. I'm excited for hunting. In fact, in the beginning of the stream, I don't know how many of you were in here. I was mentioned that I was getting ready for hunting season and getting my bow and my rifle ready and stuff. And I got my hat here for hunting this year. Had to do it. So it's pretty freaking sick, if you ask me. I got my hunting hat ready to go. Got beanies and stuff too. Not this one, obviously, because that's a little too visible. But got I put patches on everything. Got my rifle here with the Dolphins patch on the back on the buttstock. Pretty cool. And then even my bow has got some Dolphins memorabilia on it. My bow's got this little bracelet here on it, and my stabilizers are orange, so it matches out nice. Pretty sick. I'm real excited to put my equipment to use this year. Hopefully I get a moose. You guys make sure you be praying for safety and all that, and hoping I get some food for the freezer. Yeah, I'll be watching the game from the tree stand, though. Don't worry about that. Definitely not going to miss that. I would love. Okay, so a lot of people are kind of negative on Isaiah Wynn. I would love to have Isaiah Wynn back. I would love to have Isaiah Wynn back. I am not against that at all. I think that would be a smart move. Me personally, he wouldn't cost hardly anything either. So he knows, and that's the big thing right now. For the needs that we have, you need players that know the offense, because a lot of these needs we have, we need now. We need a running back now. We need an offensive lineman now. I don't think Wynn's with anybody right now. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that. Let me look at that right now. I don't think he's with anybody. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing. He's not with anybody, I don't think. Yeah, he's in recovery. He's with nobody. I would love to see him with the Dolphins. And I think that thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Nothing special, but I love like I said, I'm a I'm pretty big into archery. I do a lot of competitions, and I do. I'm an archery instructor too. I'm nationally certified to teach archery. I run a couple tournaments myself, and then I compete as well. So archery is a big deal for me. So my bow is big. You want me to take a memo, Elwood? Memoed. Always making fun of my keyboard. Yeah, I think that would be a smart move to have Isaiah Wynn come back. Plus, he's got fantastic hair. Those of you that don't know, Isaiah Wynn is a big, beautiful man. Let's put it that way. So, I'd be down for Isaiah Wynn to come back for sure. Man. All right. So we have these opportunities. We have things that we need. Obviously, I mean, every team does. They've all got things that they wish could be better. Players that they need, or whoever it is. But the situation isn't as dire as some people would want us to believe. So everybody, just do it with me. I want you all just to look into the camera, look deep in my eyes, take a deep breath, and then exhale. Breathe before you go onto YouTube and make a complete horse's ass out of yourself and say things like you hope that the team loses, or that you hope a player does so badly that they get benched just so you can be right. I'm seeing a lot of it on YouTube and all over Facebook and everywhere. It's disgusting. We're Dolphins fans. We should be rooting for our team to succeed, not to fail. If you don't like that I'm saying that, kick rocks, please. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but how can you sit there as a fan and hope for failure, hope for people to get hurt or to get benched just so the player you think should be there can be there? How can you hope for losses for this team basically being just a total wad? How can you be that? Claim you're a Dolphins fan and say that you want a team to be fighters, dogs, winners. You want your players to be that. Then you need to be that too. If you want a team that you can be proud of, the players need fans that they can be proud of, that they want to win for. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. I'm sorry if you're listening to me and thinking, no way he's talking about me because I think that Tua should get hurt and we should put Quinn Ewers in, or whatever insane take that you have. If it hurts your feelings, then you're part of the problem. I'm sorry. We need to be tougher if we want a tougher team. It's just that simple, guys. We can't be the negative Nancys and then get mad when our team is soft. What are we doing? Elwood says he's got that soul glow. Isaiah Wynn does, man. I'm telling you. Everybody loved him on the team too, by the way. I wanted to clarify that. He was one of the players that everybody liked. Everybody liked Isaiah Wynn. And if I don't know whether you know it or not, if you were watching all those Instagram posts from Miami Dolphins where players were coming off the field during practice and after games and stuff, Isaiah Wynn is always one of the guys that's screaming and hooting and hollering and jumping on people's backs and having a good time. That's who Isaiah Wynn is. And that's the kind of player you want. You want somebody that is on the team that other players want to play with and play for. So I would love to have Isaiah Wynn back. Plus, he didn't play that bad. Okay, I'm off my Isaiah Wynn kick. I'm sorry. What do you guys think here? What do you guys think? What do you guys think we're at right now? What do we need, according to you, as a fan of this wonderful team, whether we like it or not? Miami Dolphins are a storied franchise, and to be fans of it, there's ups and downs for every team. Right now, we're on a little bit, an itty bitty little losing streak with the playoffs. Itty bitty, 26 years, going on 26 years. Things got to change, that's for sure. But who's to say it's not going to be this year? I don't know. I'm not going to make an evaluation on how I think this season's going to go officially until week 4, which is what I've been saying from the beginning. Give me 4 weeks into the regular season, and I'll know what this team is about. Till then, not going to venture a guess. Ollie should be number 1. A-Chain should be a weapon. I think that I see what you're saying there. My position on the A-Chain Ollie Gordon train is that they should be alternated. It should be a number 1A and number 1B type situation. I don't think we should let teams have any kind of inkling as to who's going to be the number 1 player, number 1 running back going week to week. I think that they should be used hand in hand. And we have 2 players in Achane and Ollie Gordon who are extremely unselfish, who are team players. With those 2 players, with that kind of attitude, you have a perfect opportunity to do a 1A and 1B type situation. To truly make a team go, I don't know who's going to start for Miami this week. And it doesn't matter who's going to start because they're both going to get equal carries. That's what we need. Neither one has to carry the full load because both of them together would be dynamic. So that's where I'm at with the 2 running backs. I think they both should be number 1 and number 2 respectively. Either way is fine with me. I would just love to see them both get about equal carries during a game. You run those 2 players off of each other, off of situational play, whatever it calls for. It's going to be a hard running game to stop with those 2 players. So, yeah, depending on the matchup, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's situational, but I think they both should be equally listed. You can put whoever you want as technically number 1, but I think they're both going to end up splitting a lot of carries this year. And I think that's the way it should be. We do need some backups. I think for the time being, until we get some players healthy, I think that Shamklin and Boone could do the trick. They've done very well for us in the preseason and in practice. They've been working very hard to understand the offense and learn as fast as they can. I think it could work for them. They could do a good job together. So what do you guys think of Shamklin and Boone especially after the couple preseason games we had them for and the last couple weeks? Where do you guys stand with them? What do you guys think? I'm still here. I'm curious what people think about these players, not just myself. I have my opinions, and obviously I'm going to share them, but equally important to me and my opinions myself are what you guys think. So if you had to go Boone or Shamklin, start 1, which one is it? Which one are you going to have as your number 1? If those were the only 2 running backs, personally, I would take Shamklin as my number 1, but the question is, do you guys like Boone better or Shamklin? I struggle with Shamklin's name. And that's the funny part because you have Tungavailoa, you have Savainaya, you have all these crazy names on this team, and I struggle with Shamklin. It's going to be a interesting season. And by week 4, I guarantee you we're going to have a lot of these questions answered. And then the fun starts. HN is often getting injured, getting beat up running between tackles, move him around, get him the ball in open spaces, and Ollie took a direct hit from a defensive back and was back in the next play. Yeah, that's situational. That's some players are made to do certain things and some aren't, and I think that having both of them on this team is going to do wonders for us in our running game. We have options, and it's been a long time since we've had a running back that could smash. And anybody know who the last running back I'm thinking of that could smash? And it kind of reminds me of Ollie Gordon. His initials are J.A. And I'm not saying he is J.A. I'm not saying he's as good. We don't know. But I'm saying he reminds me an awful lot of this player. And it's not Josh Allen, so stop. Jay Ajayi. Yeah. It's Jay Ajayi. That's who he reminds me of so much. I don't think he has the intuition that Jay Ajayi has. I don't see that yet. But that's stuff that you gather when you start playing and you get more and more into the league. I think Jay Ajayi was a special player in that respect because he came into the league and he had just amazing vision on the field. It was ridiculous. But Ollie Gordon runs like him. He's got that same high pad level, just a little higher up. It's the same kind of way that Jay ran. I like Ollie Gordon, and I think that's why. So, Jamal Lewis, no. I'm thinking Jay Ajayi, but that's just because he's a Dolphin, and I got to watch him a lot when I was a little younger. But that's who I see with Ollie Gordon, and I just hope that he can stay healthy because I think he can do wonderful things for this team for sure. At least that's what I see happening. But all this running back talk, it means nothing without an offensive line. So and anybody who's been a member of this channel knows that that's what I talk about. I'm an ex-lineman in high school and college, and played a little tight end too. But I mean, I'm around linemen. I coached offensive line. That's what I know. And so when you see a team that struggles clearly because they need an offensive lineman, they need offensive line players that are good. It's obvious. Actually, I think Tyreek did a long time ago. Yeah. Yep. Ollie Gordon always falls forward. Always. And that's the beautiful thing. Somebody who knows which way to go. You don't want to take steps backwards. You don't want to hover behind the line of scrimmage and wait for a hole to open too long. I mean, I can understand a stutter step or a stall occasionally to let something develop slightly, but you don't want to get caught standing around behind the line. And there's a lot of running backs these days that do it because why? Because they're trying to bust a huge run or wait for a hole that, you could drive a Mack truck through. That's not what they should be doing. I know who you're talking about, Planet Killer, and I cannot think of the stupid name. If anybody comes up with it, please let me know because it's driving me nuts now. None of it's going to matter unless we get the offensive line stuff worked out. I think that once the season starts, things are going to start settling down. Players are going to get a lot of time to play together, and a lot of this is going to work itself out. And there's also there's one thing that we haven't talked about that I wanted to mention, something that I found very encouraging as far as our team's play goes. Overall, as a whole, our penalties have been much better in this preseason than most. In these preseason games that we've been playing, it's the other team that has the majority of the penalties every week. It's not us. in the joint practices, it's the same story. We get a few penalties called here and there, of course, but the majority of them are the other team. So it hasn't been as bad as it normally has been as far as penalties and bonehead plays. So that is encouraging, and that's something to keep an eye on as the season starts up here. Is how are we doing with our penalties and the bonehead plays? If he didn't go over 2K, he came really close once, maybe twice. Yeah, that's a good comparison, definitely. Jamal Lewis, that's who it is. Yeah, that was the question. Elwood is what was the running back that's who we were talking about, is Jamal Lewis. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Like I said, not saying he is Jamal Lewis or is going to do what Jamal Lewis did, but it's definitely a good comparison in running style for sure. Jamal Lewis was big and had that kind of same pad level of running style that Ollie Gordon has. And Ollie Gordon or Jamal Lewis is one of those players that you were not going to tackle him in the backfield. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter if you hit him 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to find a way to get back up to the line of scrimmage, and that's what this team needs, because we haven't had a running back like that since Jay Ajayi. So that's as far as this team goes. The last one we had like that was Jay. So I really like Ollie Gordon. I want to see what he can do, and I think that he can really maximize his. You did, Elwood. I'm just looking at the comments. You're right. You did say that. Yeah, I totally missed that you said that. There it is, right there. Elwood gets the W on that one. Oh man, yeah, Jamal Lewis. I think that Ollie Gordon really can maximize his potential and his game style, his play style, with someone like Achane next to him. So having those opportunities with a player who contrasts as well as Achane does, that's a heck of a yin and yang. As long as we have solid offensive line play. If we don't have the solid offensive line play, neither one of them are going to matter. That's the bummer of the situation. So the offensive line needs to get their stuff worked out. They didn't do horribly in the offseason, the starting offensive line. I don't care what anybody says. It wasn't horrible. There was some slip-ups. There was some mistakes. You're starting a rookie on the offensive line. There's going to be some rookie mistakes by him. The ineligible receiver downfield penalty that he got on that first drive, I'm not mad about it. That stuff's going to happen, especially from a rookie. He's learning. I don't care how good he was in college. He's learning the NFL. The speed at which things happen in the NFL is different. So he's got to get used to it. He will. You got to give him a chance. And giving Jonas Vainai a chance does not mean let him play a few games in the preseason and then form your opinion of him after that. That's not what I mean. You have to give him time. He's learning a new position too. Oh, he's not learning a new position. He's just playing the other side. Trust me, as an ex-offensive lineman who has had to make a switch from the left side to the right side of the line or from the right to the left, that is a new position. Guaranteed. It's different. You got things that you have to think about. You have to change your intuition and your instincts immediately to play the other side of the offensive line. There are hardly any players in the NFL that can switch effortlessly from the left and right side of the line and play just as effectively. There's not many, maybe two. So it's not an easy thing. Elwood said it right here. He said Jonah has never played left guard. He did play 2 games at left guard for University of Arizona. However, that's not enough to make a change like that. And if you look at those games, he didn't play nearly as well. So most of his time was spent on the right side of the line. moving to left guard is hard. So he's gonna have to change things. It's like wiping your butt with the other hand. It's a pretty accurate comparison. We all get good at wiping with a certain hand. And if there's ever a situation where you have to wipe with the other hand, you're going to get poop all over your hand. It's just the way it is. So it's a good point, Elwood. It's funny. That's a good point, though. We got to give him a chance, a solid chance. Week 4. Week 4 is evaluation time for a lot of these players, not the end of the preseason, like some people want to do. Well, this player's trash. We've seen him in preseason, so we know he's trash. What do you really think that way? It's a gamble. The players that you keep on the 53 and the players you let go, it's all a gamble because nobody has an accurate 100% judgment call on any of these players. You don't. That's why it's not easy to be a coach during this time. It's just not easy. Because evaluations are incomplete until you see a few weeks of play in the NFL in the regular season. So the offensive line needs to shore some things up. It would be nice if we had a little bit better backups for play on the offensive line. But ultimately it falls on our starters, and they need to step up. They need to gel, and they need to play better. That's all there is to it. Do I think it'll happen? I do. I do think it'll happen. I think they're going to play a lot better when the season starts, especially as we progress from game 1 to game 2 to game 3 to game 4. Game 4, after game 4, I'm going to make a video, or I'll go live, one of the two, and I'm going to give my evaluation on every position on this team. I mean, it's just my opinion and my evaluation personally, so I don't expect any of you to mirror my opinion just because it's my opinion. But I can guarantee you a couple things. And me and Curtis, we jive on this all the time. Because me and Curtis from Ace Per Head, if you haven't checked his channel out, go check his channel out. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. He puts out a lot of great content, and he's a smart man. We both have the same attitude towards evaluations on this team. You need proper amounts of information and examples to make a proper evaluation. And until we get that, it's all just guesswork. It's opinion. So, oh, come on, Elwood. Pharaoh doesn't suck. Did you see that amazing catch that he made like 12 times? Man, he bobbled that thing all the way across the end zone before he finally snugged that thing up. Holy crap, I thought he was going to drop it. Oh, that was hilarious. The whole time as soon as that ball got into Pharaoh Brown, he's sitting there and he's juggling and juggling and juggling. I'm just like, man, would you grab the ball already? Quit tossing it. Quit tossing it up between your fingers. Just bring it into your body and hold on. One other thing about this, Elwood, Pharaoh, he's a beast. He's a fantastic blocker. So that's one thing I will say. I'd kind of like to hang on to Pharaoh Brown personally. It's just my opinion, but I would like to hang on to him. What does everybody else think? You guys weigh in a little bit. What do you guys think about Pharaoh Brown? Do you guys think that he should stay on the team, or do you think we should let him rock? Let him go? I'd like to hang on to him, but I don't know if Rucci's shown enough to keep him on the team personally. But like I said, it's 6 in one, a half a dozen in the other, I think, sometimes with these players. You can never tell. I would love to have Rucci on the practice squad for sure and keep following his development and stuff. Just not sure. You guys remember Brooks, the running back that used to be on the Dolphins, and then we let him go and he went to the Green Bay? He's available. He's not going to stay with the Packers. That's another option we have, Chris Brooks. You guys remember him? That's a player that knows the offense and we could bring in and he could help with the running back situation. Something to think about there. And Chris Brooks was a beast. He ran hard. So, and he played a little bit for Green Bay and did well enough. I would love to have him back. Also, Nick Needham is cut, so he won't be. He's available too. Nick Needham would be awesome. I would love to have Nick Needham back. A lot of people didn't like him. I did. I would like to have him back. He has dynamic playability for sure. Great Denver game. Are you talking about Chris Brooks, Elwood? Nick is 75. Were you talking about Chris Brooks with the Denver game? Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. I would like to have him back. What do you guys think? What are some other cuts or keeps? Players that you think we should cut or that we should keep? Anybody else got anything they want to weigh in with? Other opinions on certain players? I'd love to hear it. This is how we form educated opinions and evaluations, by discussing these players with each other. Not just going off of what we think personally. We discuss and we talk. That's what I want to know. I want to know what you guys think of cuts and keeps on this team. I know, camera's off. It's okay. I've got father-in-law and traffic all over the house right now, so sometimes I have to shut the camera off to manage. But I'm still here. I'm still talking. I'm still reading. It's in the gun cabinet. Go ahead. Yeah, I occasionally the camera will get shut off, but I can turn it back on in a sec. D-line and edge. What do you mean, Elwood? All of them? Should we cut all of our defensive line and edge, or keep? I kind of avoid that reference of Derrick Henry for Ollie, just because Derrick Henry is one of the all-time greats, right? He's one of the best in the league. Oh, I'd say one of the all-time greats for sure. Future Hall of Famer, definitely. So when it comes to Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, I really try to avoid those references, just because the stigma that comes with it, where people are just instantly tune it out because you're comparing a rookie to a future Hall of Famer. No, but when you talk about style of run, you could definitely make that comparison. I wouldn't, shun that comparison just because it's Derrick Henry. I could definitely see that. And ultimately, there's a lot of players in this league that Ollie could, you could make cases for Ollie reminding you of them. Derrick Henry is not to be ignored. Obviously, he's one of the best at it, especially that running style. Especially the attitude too. Derrick Henry just will not be denied, and that's an attitude you'd love to see from a running back. No, we need to go to the store and get some 30-06, because I only have like 10 rounds. Yeah, you can take whatever's in the locker. It's just we need to go get more. Okay. Yeah, so you could make that comparison. Keepers: Zach Grant, Chubb, Chop, JP, Jones, Judon, Jordan Phillips, Zeke, and Murphy. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. That's pretty much it. There's some players on the bubble, and I think Murphy is on the bubble too. I don't think he's exempt from being on the bubble. We'll see if we keep him. He very well could end up getting practice squatted. What concerns me about Murphy is he could very well end up being one of those players that gets picked up off the waiver wire. If we cut him, if we put him to waivers, he could very well get picked up, because he has played extremely well. Grayson Murphy has. He's played extremely well in this preseason. He could wind up getting sucked up by somebody else. So yeah, that's a pretty accurate guess there. The defensive line definitely has tremendous potential. When you look at that defensive line, and here's one thing about this Jacksonville game. People keep saying it, and it drives me nuts. Oh, our offense was playing against all of the number 2s and number 3s for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is not true. That is not true. There was a lot of Jacksonville Jaguars number 1s in there in the beginning of the game on defense. Not all of them, no. There was 0 number 3s in those first couple possessions. It was all number 2s and number 1s that we were playing against, that our offense was playing against. Our offense was minus 2 or 3 of its most important weapons. So let's not say that. And it's the same with defense. There was no number 3s on the offense against our number 1 defense for that first beginning of the game. There was no number 3s. It was number 1s and number 2s on that offense. It wasn't all number 2s or 3s. So that whole claim that, well, we should have destroyed them, that's not the same. Plus play calling. You can't, like I said, you can only draw some player evaluations. You can't really draw evaluations on how the team is going to do based on preseason stuff. Play calling makes a huge difference as well. So it's just, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I hate that comparison. It is such low-hanging fruit to make that claim. And everybody all over YouTube world and Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, Twitter, X, I'm sorry. Everybody's making that comparison, it seems like, and it's just such low-hanging, stupid fruit. It's like, man, do we want to just seem like we're a bunch of dumb fans, or do we want to seem somewhat intelligent? Goodness. Yeah. Everybody's in here. Make sure, give a like real quick. Make sure to throw that down. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Little stuff like that helps. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Cliff, I know. I'm not going to even pretend that I have that information right in front of me. And I'm not picking on other YouTube content creators, but nobody has made that claim and provided information on it either. So instead of asking me to provide that information, how about the ones that are making the claim show that information that it was number 3s and number 2s playing against our offense, because that's not what it was. It was mostly number 2s, I'll give it that, but it wasn't all number 2s, and it wasn't number 3s, not until the third possession. So it's one of those situations where people want things to be true. They say things that just aren't quite accurate, and they take a play or two, and then they make that seem like that was the all-inclusive action. That was all that happened, and it's just not true. Nobody has that. I don't have the ability to pull up the roster of who was on the field for each play. I don't have that. Likewise, if you're going to make that claim, you should have that, instead of just saying it and expect people to take you at your word. So people want things to be true, so they present claims to try to make it seem that way, but it's just save the evaluations is my point. Save them until you can actually make the evaluation. There's a time for it, but at the end of the preseason, that's not the time. Hoping that players get hurt and players get cut and players get dumped just so you can be right, hoping players do bad, hoping the team fails so that a certain action can be taken in the next draft. I mean, this is not the way to be. This is not the way. There's other ways to do these things. as a team, we shouldn't, as fans, we shouldn't be hoping for our team to fail, no matter what the reasoning is. You can believe what you want, buddy. I like I said, I don't have to. I don't have the game in front of me, right? And if people are going to be making the claim, and the other three, I only know of one that's made that claim outright. I only know of one that's made the claim, and that's Pete's Takes. I don't know anybody else who's made that claim. And like I said, I'm not saying that they were wrong on every play, but there was number ones out there. I can try to get it to you if I can go watch the game again, but I'm not doing that right now. I don't even have the all 22 in front of me. Pete has the all 22, so Pete could pull it up and look at it. You don't have to believe me. At this point, I'm just doing exactly what those people that you claim are right are saying. I'm doing the same thing, just the opposite side of it. No proof is being said about it. Either way, there was a lot of number twos. Most of the starters were out for the Jaguars, yes. But it wasn't number threes. Number threes didn't come in until the second quarter, for the most part. TD says a lot of things, dude. TD even admits that a lot of the stuff he says is just trolling. So, I mean, it is what it is. You can believe who you want, man. I saw different, and a lot of other people did too. Once again, this is a situation where it's, if people are making the original claim, those are the ones that should, have the ability to prove it. I think limiting penalty and screw ups, they were doing a pretty good job of that, right? I mean, there was obviously some penalties in the last game, especially there was the ineligible receiver downfield that was on Jonas Savaiinaya, and there was a couple other ones too, but there wasn't many penalties on the Dolphins, especially in that last game. They were mostly on Jacksonville, and it seemed like, man, I'll give Jacksonville some dap here. They didn't deserve some of those penalties either. Some of those penalties were ridiculous. So, like I said, Cliff, man. Okay, so you've named. Okay, absolutely. I love Pete's Takes. All right, I love Pete. I go on there and listen to a lot of Pete's Takes. And Pete knows that I disagree with a lot of the stuff that he says, but it doesn't mean I like him less. And it goes the same with TD. A lot TD too. I like TD a lot. I respect him as a content creator. You could put Omar in there too. I like them all. I don't have to agree with them, and I don't think that all of their evaluations are right. And I don't think a lot of the things that they say, some of the things that they say aren't right either, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as a lot of people are concerned. We don't have to agree on everything. But if they're making the claim that all of the players on the field against the Dolphins number ones in those first three possessions were only number twos and threes, they're wrong. I'll do what I can here, not right this second, but I will go and I will try to find pictures and still frames from the game to prove that that's correct. If that makes you feel better, I will do that. But I can make the claim just like they are, because they're not proving that either. If they're saying that when we were on defense, that all of the offensive players were number threes and number twos, that's not true either. There were number ones in there, mainly on the offensive line. Not all players, but there were some. Not every possession, but there were some. Just like the fact that we didn't have all of our players on offense, and we didn't have all of our starters on defense. Whether that's by design, by injury, or other things, it is what it is. So, mad respect to Omar. Mad respect to Pete's takes. I love Pete's takes. He's got me as a mod on one of his on his streams. I love Pete. I love Omar. Like I said, I will go do that. I'm not doing it right now. I don't have the game on. I'll have to do some research, but I'll do it. You have my word. And I disagree with that. It's only on me. I disagree there, because either way, a claim is made by other people too. So it should be on them as well. So you're saying that since they made the claim first to the contrary, that they're clean and clear of having to prove their point. That's interesting. I disagree with you completely on that. As all teams are. Everybody's knocking rust off and getting in sync with each other. That's the game. That's what it is. So yeah, Cliff, zero disrespect intended to anybody. I just disagree. Yeah, and I don't care that much. The only reason I was talking about it a little bit today is because I noticed a couple streams where people were talking about it as if it was something that was consistent the entire time during the game, where zero starters played for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's just not true. Most of the starters didn't play, yes. But the first string Dolphins offense was not playing against number threes. That wasn't happening. The second string Dolphins offense played against some number threes for sure. Let's see. We have, let's see here. Bear with me here for a minute. I'm going to try something. Let's see here. Okay. I am looking for some things. Preseason week 3. Cliff, if it bugs you that much, I'm sure you could go look too. But I'm trying to look and see if I can find any way of figuring this out. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try. Jaguars depth chart. Be nice in the comments, goodness. I definitely like a few things about the roster. I do like that we're stronger. I like that we're a younger team, going from one of the oldest teams in the NFL to one of the youngest. That's a good move. I like that. I do think that there is an improvement in physicality. Up to what point? Who knows? It's too early to tell. I do think there will be an improvement in physicality for the team as a whole, but we don't know how much yet. Like I said, the week 4 evaluation, that's where things actually become, accurate, is during week 4. Oh, I don't think that I'm in a minority opinion there, buddy. I'm sorry. I really don't. I think there's two opinions. Ultimately, the opinion doesn't really matter either way. I mean, it's kind of a strange thing to hang your hat on, but whatever. To each their own. I'm not terribly concerned about it. I'm trying to find. Yeah, I don't see how. Short of actually going back and watching the game, and I can do that, just not right this minute. I'm not saying that Pete's opinion or Omar's opinion or anybody's opinion is lesser. I'm just saying I disagree with that. That's all. It is what it is. And at the same time, the claim that we had our number ones in, that's not true either. We didn't have our number ones in. We had some, but not all, on offense or defense. So, I mean, what are we really talking about here? I mean, we know on our side of the ball, we had players out on offense and defense. We know that. And that claim was made right along with that claim that it was all 2s and 3s playing against our number ones. That's not what was going on. It's a non-inclusive argument. So, I mean, sure they did. I'm definitely not a sensationalist. Definitely not. But I mean, people can say what they want on their channels. I mean, if they want to say that our number ones played against all number 2s and 3s, I mean, it's fine. I just disagree. Yes, that's what I've been saying. It wasn't all starters, it was just there was some starters in there. I that's what I've been saying. I don't have the proof in front of me, so I can't post a picture saying, "Oh, look, there's number 72. He should," I can't do that. It's frustrating. I wish I could. But there's ways to find out. If you really care that much, go find out. I mean, but I disagree with that. I disagree with that. So we are looking at I'm going to try to move on from this, so can we please just move on from that whole situation, guys? Cliff, I still respect you. I'm not saying you're a terrible person or anything. I just disagree with that one claim. I don't care who said it. I disagree with it. So, and apparently so does the Jaguars website. So take it as you want. Okay. There was certain evaluations that had to be made for sure. But it was a preseason game. I mean, with the preseason record of 2 wins and 1 tie, I mean, what does that mean for the regular season? It means nothing. There are teams that you go 0-3 in the preseason and end up, 14-3 in the regular season. So, I mean, it doesn't matter that much. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not concerned about who the 2s and 3s are for each team or 1s, which is why I wasn't talking about it until it got brought up. I'm just saying that I disagree with, it's just not that true that it was all 1s and against number 2s and 3s. It just wasn't like that. I mean, there was a lot of number 2s in for sure in the beginning of the game for the Jaguars. It was definitely mostly number twos. But what do you expect for an offense when they don't have their top three weapons? I mean, it's what it is. And when is it not? That's especially for this team. My goodness, it makes you wonder if that curse that they claim is on the Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium on that ground makes you wonder if that's true. With the injuries that we seem to get, I mean, a lot of teams are dealing with injuries, of course. So I'm not saying the Dolphins are the only team dealing with it, but it's funny. It's funny that it's just every year we have these things happen right as the season starts, and then at about week 7 or 8 we're going to have more. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. It is every team. So we'll see how it shapes out. We'll see how it turns up. I don't think we're as bad as a lot of people think. I don't think that's true. I think we're going to be okay. The team does have needs. We'll just see how it turns out. I guarantee you one thing: on week 1 against the Colts, they won't be playing number twos, and the Dolphins won't be playing number twos. It'll be ones versus ones. And in week 2, it'll be the same, ones versus ones. And in week 3, ones versus ones. And week 4 will be ones versus ones. And then in week 4, I'll have an evaluation of the team and what they're about for the year. Till then, I won't have an evaluation. I'll have opinion. I'll have thoughts, ideas on it, which is what most people have. Anybody presenting things as facts at this point of the season, which is essentially the beginning of the season, they're not facts. It's all just opinions. So that's where we're at, guys. We will see what happens. This is the beginning of a busy week for us as Dolphins fans, for any football fan across the league, no matter what team it is. This is one of the weeks that get crazy. So all we can do is pay attention. We can watch, and we can see what happens with this team. I'd imagine that waiver wire will start getting very active on Monday. I wouldn't wait for Tuesday. I think that people are going to start making cuts pretty quick. Teams have already started, obviously, but not much has happened yet. Most of the action is going to be Monday and Tuesday morning. So here we go. Regular season is right around the corner, 2 weeks away. We have a couple weeks of practice, getting ready for a team that we're going to be playing in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be playing the Indianapolis Colts. Tuesday, I'll be doing another live stream. It'll be 4:15 p.m. 4:15 here. It'll be 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. So be watching for that if you want to come show up and check it out. More than welcome to do so. Also, the end of this week or beginning of next week, I'll be doing another video / live stream. I'm unsure as to what it's going to be yet. Talking about the 53-man team again and a preview of the first game of the season against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. There's going to be a lot to talk about as we move forward. So everybody be ready for those streams and those shows. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Until the next time, stay hopeful. It could always be worse. It's just football. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. And make sure to throw a like down and check out the channel on your way out the door. There's a lot of content already on my channel, and I'll be putting more out. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great evening. Sleep well and all that good stuff.